Well, hey, party people, it's Cliff. Let's try something different. This is in the evening and not in the whatchamacallit. And I am about to drive home from work. So, basic office, basic stuff, basic traffic. But it was a couple of things I wanted to reiterate this morning. Well, actually, I didn't upload this morning because the video cut into 3 times, and I'm like, I don't want to edit it. But I remember thinking about it more and more, and I think I told the story all right, but I'll tell it again. So I had been going to work at this place for, been driving to this place for years, right? It took an hour to get to it, and same route, same traffic, same everything, every single day. And one day I get pulled over. I'm like, well, that's weird. Why did I get pulled over? I wasn't speeding. I wasn't doing anything. A lady cop comes up, LAPD. She comes in over there. She says, your registration's expired on your car. And I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know that. Well, thanks. I'm going to go get it fixed right now. It's like, where's the nearest DMV? And she's like, oh, no. Your registration's expired. We need to tow your car. And I'm like, oh man, well that sucks, I guess so. Like, how long has it been expired? It's been expired for 6 months. And you know what? To be fair, that expiration's on me. No problem. I'm fine with that. But I was driving to work, same route, same car, same everything. That lady cop was probably doing the same, on the same beat, and for 6 months, I was driving without a expired registration. I was driving with an expired registration, and you got to think to yourself, like, okay, 6 months driving around LA, going out, having fun with friends, traveling wherever, never got pulled over. Like, drove the same route every day going to and from work. And it was only then she told me that, oh, well, because your registration has been expired for 6 months, we're allowed to tow your car. And apparently that's the rule, is that if your registration is expired after 6 months, then they can tow your car legally. And so you gotta wonder, like, no message from the DMV, no email from the DMV, no call from the DMV, no polite officer that pulls over a car for an expired registration. None of that stuff, came about. And you realize that, the cops only pull you over if there's a monetary incentive in order to, that they can gain. And that's pretty much it. It's all about money. That's what it is. And, the tow truck guy comes out and he puts the car in the lift and he does the thing, and, you go in and you like, what the hell is this guy doing? He's doing something stupid. Oh man. Evening driving is crazy, but look at all these cars. This car line goes up for miles, man, because back there is like the 405 you got to get to. Look, it's just a whole bunch of cars. They're not parked. That's a double lane, them trying to get around stuff. But in other words, the incentive for the officer to pull my car over at that time was that they checked their system, and it showed that my registration was expired for over 6 months, and they could tow the car. They could get the towing fees. They could, and I went there and I paid it. I took care of it. There was no problem, because I'm prepared for that. But it's the message, right? The message stands. It's like, no calls, no information, no nothing, no mail showed up, no, absolutely nothing. And so, part of me is like really frustrated with that, because rather than somebody being, courteous and being like, hey, your registration is expired, you should get that taken care of, don't want you to have any more, don't want you to get in trouble down the line. None of that happened. And so that leads me to believe, or at least that one little moment is like, well, it's like it incentivizes, um, it incentivizes those people who do like law enforcement and also citizens and also like people to do things differently. And that's the unfortunate thing. Now, granted, like, I keep up my registration, paid for it. This happened like 8 years ago. Maybe the law has changed. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's like they had the information. I I don't know how many like cops I must have driven by in LA where they scan the license plate and it says like expired registration. You know, none of them pulled me over. Like, how many, like, over 6 months, how many police officers in LA that I've parked at, you know, in parking lots? Like, how many police officers do you think I drove by? Like 100? You know, 1,000 maybe? Like, just going out and being around, and none of them decided to, you know, just pull me over. Why? It's not worth their time. It's only worth their time if it's money. So that leads us to what our crazy world is built around today, right? Money makes the world go around, as it does. And I don't know. I was thinking about it. It does, but it doesn't bother me. There's a little bump here, and it's one of those things where, okay, if Whew. Ooh, man, that's good sneezes. Let's see AI. Let's see AI trying to do that. But it's one of those things where, like, if somebody is breaking the law, and you know, and there's no money for the cops to be making like anything off of somebody breaking the law, then they're not going to enforce the law, right? I mean, there's things on the books and things on the, you know, the things that are in court, and like honestly, it's sort of a waste of their time, and I understand that, but it's not a waste of their time if they can get money off of it. And so that encourages like a dishonest behavior. You know, it encourages sort of apathy and, you know, not caring about like the goodness or the wellness of the community. And you could probably argue that in LA there's millions of people in LA, and there's just not enough manpower in order to take care of all the little things that go on. And yeah, there's an argument of like, well, you should have kept your, you know, registration like in check. And it's like, well, you should have sent an email that said like, hey, your registration's expired. Nothing. Maybe it went to spam. I don't know. Anyway, the other point is that, you know, money makes the world go around, and I'm only parroting what other YouTubers have said and what other people have said, but it's like, you know, got to figure out a way to make money, got to figure out a way to, you know, get your job like squared away, you know, and stop spending it, or, you know, locking into investments. I don't know what I'm saying. I just know that this guy on the right side of me, he's thumping the music and he's having a good old time in his Prius, so and I guess I'm talking to myself in this car, so whatever, you know, like as the situation goes. But it's one of those things, like, I wonder just how much other things have happened out there that, you know, nobody cares about. And it's not that nobody cares about it, it's just that it's not worth somebody's time, you know? And really that's it. There's nothing else I got going on. Just trying to think of like whatever else is happening. Man, I think I said it way better in the morning, but I'm lazy. I'm not going to edit those videos together. It's only going to be one and done. And if I have to do it 3 times, or if I have to do it in the evening, then we do it in the evening. That's how it works. Golly, it's funny being. It's funny having an out date. Not funny, but it's just expected. Like, a lot of the jobs that you'll ever get in Hollywood will always be temporary jobs. You know, 6 months here, 2 weeks there, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you know, a month and a half. And you always run into that, like, you know, a project's gonna, project's going to end. So you got to go somewhere else. And I've been doing this job for 10 years and it's been cool. And I think I'm going to take a break. I'm not going to take a break from making stuff, but I am going to take a break away from all of the usual stuff that happens in Hollywood. And you never know. Like, I might go back, might not do anything, might retire, might move out of California, might stay in California. I don't know. But the world is the oyster, which runs off of money, and the oyster gobbles it up. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Oh, man. It's a different feeling, like, at the end of the day versus at the beginning of the day. Because in the beginning of the day, you actually have a clear mind, and you're focused, and then you're doing it. And then you get into work, and then, you're making good stuff. Everything's good. Learned a little bit about some new software stuff. Project is going through the ringer. Actually still got to do some work. But that is the problem. Not problem, but I do like remote work. I do like remoting in, to the system, because I can do stuff at home. And I got nothing else to do at home, play some video games, whatnot. Do that kind of thing. I'll put some AC on me. Burning up in here. But yeah, I guess, like, the thing is, there's different categories of, like, understanding what money does, right? The first category is, if you don't have any of it, the only thing you want to do is get it. The second category is, money that is used to buy things. And when I say buy things, it's like, oh, I need to buy rent. Like, it's paid for rent, right? I need to buy shoes. I need to buy, like, basic essentials, food, shelter, food and shelter. And then the next step up from that is, like, a little bit more of food and shelter, and then transportation, because you need to get to places. And then you could wrap that into, like, utilities, internet, phone, necessary essentials in order to live in our society today. And then the next step up from that is saving, and saving your money for a rainy day, like rainy day fund. The next step up from that is, like, investment in 401k, the stock market, the S&P 500, right? Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. Like, that's the next step, right? Investment. And there's a step above that. And the step above that is financial freedom, right? You've heard it before. Man on Fire advertisement, all right. Financial freedom, fuck you money. I don't need to do anything. This guy's weaving in and out of traffic. I don't know what he's doing, but we're going to stay away from him. Go a little bit slower than usual. But fuck you money. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to, I'm good. I don't need to work for the rest of my life. My family, myself are all taken care of. Well, if the economy, keeps going. And then the next level is thinking about money as a tool. And a tool in which you use it in order to get work done. So much like a tool, like a hammer or a screwdriver, where you're screwing in a screw or you're hammering in a nail, money is a tool that purchases work. And if you say it like that, that means hiring employees. But if you're actually purchasing a person's time in order for them to do the work that you want. And that's how businesses get started. And then you use your money and investments in order to start a business, and then you have customers with that business, and then you try to, like, have the money workflow and money flow and that type of thing. Then there's another one. There's another level on higher, and this is where it gets a little bit weird, because it's the multimillionaire class. And the multimillionaire class, they'll have some businesses. They'll go out and they'll have, like, extravagant vacations. They'll spend a little bit more money. They'll go out to fancy dinners, right? It's just a little bit higher than a person who owns a business. They'll do stuff for the business. They'll make they have multiple properties. They make ends meet. They understand that money is a tool to do work. Money is a tool to keep their business running. And the thing is, with business, they need to come up with a product or service that is going to help facilitate that business. And there you go. Another emergency just at random. That happens. But then there's another level. And this is the 100 million plus, and even into the billionaires. And you think to yourself, a normal person like you or me, maybe like a little bit more normal person, is that $1 million is enough, right? $1 million is enough. $2 million is enough. I don't know where this other guy is coming from. He's coming from somewhere. Oh, they're going the same direction. Oh, he's going another way. No, he's behind us. But you have another level, and that level is like, the multimillionaire and like, not quite billionaire class yet. And the multimillionaires like have bigger businesses and, bigger cars and like, more extravagant lifestyles and like taking their private jets to wherever, right? Think of celebrities. Think of, big sports players. Like think of those type of folks. And then you got another level on top of that. And that's the multimillionaire. That's like getting around and that's getting around to the billionaire class. And you got one part of the no. Good Lord, they're killing me. I don't want you to know about like the one step above that is the billionaire class. And the billionaire class, like the guys on Shark Tank, like the guys that own sports teams, like the like those guys who are in the celebrity space, but they're the business people that you recognize and who are like multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires. And they're in it for the game. They're in it for the game to make money. And it really is just a game. Like they have their businesses, they have their tools, but they trade, they do this, they do that, they do that. They spend their money on big ticket items that have like big ticket returns, and they live life and have the style, have the pop and circumstance, like all the guys that you see. And then there's another level above that. And that level is kind of on the Donald Trump, kind of on the Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, like those rich guys, right? There's that. They want the celebrityism, they want the, the power, they want the ego, they want all of that. And the thing is that when you're around that much money, it's not about acquiring more money. It's about control. They want to control people. And it starts all the way back into like the business like side of things. Like money, if you use money to purchase work, like then like you can buy someone's time and you can control that person. I think what was it, Dave Chappelle had a good quote. He says that the fuel of choice is often determined by money. And and that's essentially like the hierarchy of the billionaire class. But then you have another class. And this is my like little prediction, right? You have the class of people who are in the same money bracket as all those famous like billionaires that but you don't know about them. And they're quiet, and they're silent, and they're around, and they're driving a Honda, they're driving a Toyota, they're existing in this world and using their money as a philanthropist, if I could even say that word right. And it's my hope that those folks out there see the world in a completely different way, and not in control, but in shaping the methodology and shaping the systems and the world as they see it. And with the other video that I made yesterday, where the evolution of process, like if people are fighting against each other, like nothing would get anything done. So everybody has to cooperate with each other. And hopefully that there are those folks out there that have so much wealth that they live a very like relaxed life, but they use that wealth to do good, and They don't showboat it. They don't showcase it. And that and through that, it's not control, but it's influence. And I guess the best part is that all of that influence can be done at any level of watch out, guy. You're about to cut me off. And that can be done at any level in the grand scheme of things, no matter what your status is. And that's the thing that, like, whenever the money comes, like, you know, that's sort of a part that I believe, you know. And maybe the world's not such a bad place, you know. Maybe there are, like, the multimillionaires and the billionaires out there that you don't know who they are, who do that kind of thing, and they don't need to showcase it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I certainly did, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye now.